Hi, today I want to touch very gently into the feeling and the idea of self-loathing. The reason I want to bring this up, and it's such a tough topic to even look at, I'm not even sure how comfortable I am talking to you about it because it means I have to be vulnerable, but I know it's really important. So my name's Claire Williams. I'm an energy worker, but I also work with people's emotional well-being, which means I have to take care of my own too. And that's what I was doing this morning with my tapping buddy, Ambuka Landers. Now, because I'm an energy worker, I do work with the psychology of things, but I also work with the nuances of the energy that are connected into our thoughts, our feelings, our ways of being, how they embed themselves in the body, etc., etc. There's lots of things here, but what I wanted to share with you was this sense of self-loathing that a lot of us struggle with, or even like I thought I was done with all of that because there's so much of me I'm really comfortable with. When I tap into one area that I'm not comfortable with, oh, there it is again. There's always more learning. So the reason I want to bring this up is because it's a heavy, dense energy, and it gets in the way of the ease and the flow and the lightness of your life. So this came up for me particularly today because a couple of weeks ago I was out trying swimsuits on, ready to go on holiday, and it brought up a whole heap of stuff that I thought I dealt with, but there was more to be learned and more to be healed. Now, when I tuned into this self-loathing energy, which was mine, I recognized that it connected in this instance today mainly with this female energy and how women can feel so judged, comparing themselves, so hateful of themselves if they don't look a particular way, are not particular shape, not particular size, etc., etc. Now, believe me, I do know that this isn't limited to women, but in the energy stream that I was connecting with, it was all about the feminine aspect that doesn't appreciate and validate who they are, who we are, for exactly who we are. Now, when we talk about this, and I did clear a lot of energy, I want you to just think how this might show up in your life for you. So I noticed there was a lot of comparison and finding myself wanting. There was a lot of judgment about how I still hadn't solved that problem. There was a lot of judgment about how I hadn't changed the way that my body shape looked dramatically enough. There was a lot of conditions I had here for myself. I'm just going to refer to my notes because I wrote lots of this down as we were working. There was also a lot of it being unspeakable. The things that we say to ourselves, we would never say out loud. And as I say this, I can feel that in my heart space really strongly. Now, if you think I'm feeling this, I feel fairly sure that someone out there listening to it also feels this. And it might not be for the same reason, it might be a completely different reason, but that self-loathing, that judgment, that unspeakable stuff, the things that we say to ourselves, which are truly, truly dreadful, that we say in our heads, are really unhelpful. And so if it's all right with you, I'd like very much just to start to release some of these out. And I just want you to follow me and repeat these sentences, okay? Now, the reason we're going to do this is because we're going to clear some of the energy strands. It will not solve the problem, full stop. I really want to make that clear, but what it will do is take some of the heaviness away, leave some lightness and ease, which means you can start to see the truth more easily, because the truth is you are perfectly unique and perfectly lovable exactly as you are, and also that you are not all about this one problem thing. You are so much more than that. There is so much appreciation for you out there in your loved ones, in your friends, but also energetically. Yes, and I know that sounds very spiritual. I am a spiritual person. At the end of the day, I know that the connections to the ancestors, the connection to the divine, the connection to the divine aspect within myself is key to rising above my made-up problems that are in my head. I'm not good enough, the judgment, the loathing, etc. But what I also wanted to say, and particularly why it's important that this was linked to the feminine aspect, is because all of these judgments that we have about ourselves, the self-loathing leads to a sense of fear. a sense of unsafety within ourselves. And that can then mean that we don't have a sisterhood with other women in our lives. Now, I noticed that when I was younger, I would often separate myself in a way that meant I was either comparing myself to be better or comparing myself to be worse. And now as I get older, and I've done a lot of work on myself, I reckon we are sisters. That's what we are. We are a sisterhood. But it can be really hard to settle into that with a sense of safety. By recognizing where we have been made to feel separate, the judgments from magazines, Facebook, all of that kind of stuff, where we recognize these things, we can start to become consciously part of the whole again. So where we then become consciously connected to our other females, consciously connected to ourselves, so much so that anything on the outside cannot knock it anymore, because we reside within the truth that sits in here. What I mean by that is, so you think in the historic times you've had the witch wound, for instance, that comes up for a lot of people, especially if they're in the healing world. The witch wound where one sister betrayed another sister, where a person betrayed another, and that meant that death was the end result. This is a very terrible feeling to be left with, and energetically it comes through the energy, but also we now know that ancestral stuff comes through the DNA. So if we start to clear that and remember that everything is energy before it is anything else, if we can start to clear the energy of that, then we start to make space for lightness, for expansiveness. We create space for goodness and magic and connection and love and approval and validation and self-love to come in. So that's why I want to share these statements with you, and I'd really like you to do them with me, but do this with the consciousness, the awareness of recognizing these ideas you have about yourself are not truth. They are just ideas. And if you think that your ideas can change really easily, if you've noticed something that seriously shifts your point of view, you go, well, why the hell do I believe that anymore? Well, this is what I'm asking you to do, is to actually open up to the idea that what you've thought was true, felt was true, is not true. It's conditioning. It's the past. It's something that's been laid onto ourselves, which is not in wholeness. And everything I do with my work is about reconnecting you to your wholeness. And that's really important, because I know it's been essential for me to be able to stand up and even say these words to you. So we're now into coming up to 8 minutes, and I realise that I've given you a real pocket idea of what this is about, and it might be confusing, so please ask questions if that's where you need to be. But what I'd really like you to do is just to repeat some statements with me. They are energy clearing statements. And in order to get the most out of them, what I tend to do is ask that my aura is expanded. And we expand the aura so that the things that are painful are not so strongly felt. Let's get my words around the right way, because I've gone into energy world. When we expand our aura, all the painful parts that would have been close to us are now further apart, okay? It's out there in the field. It's still in our space, but it's out there in the field somewhere, above your head, down by your feet, wherever, but it's not right next to the body, so it doesn't feel so strong. However, you might find some of the statements I use will still create tears, will still create sadness, and that's okay. Feel that as you're doing the statements, because avoiding it means that we're not connecting to the whole of the truth, and the potential for transformation is in that feeling. The potential to change and to let go of that forever is in the feeling. So stay with it, but take care of yourself at the same time. Okay, so the first statement I want you to follow with me, and we just do one statement at a time, and we're just going to repeat it once. It's a very powerfully energetic statement. It clears. Trust me on that. Those of you that are sensitive will be able to see it or sense it, but just trust me that this statement is full and honourable, keeps integrity. That's really important. That's important for you to know that. So the first statement, I want you now to imagine your feet grounded down into the ground. So let's do that for a moment. connecting all the way down towards the center of Mother Earth. You're going through all the layers of the earth, grounding cord coming from the top of your spine all the way down the base, and then traveling through the layers of your house, traveling through the layers of the earth to the center point, the heart space of Mother Earth, Mother Gaia, the original mother. And as you connect into that, ask that your grounding cord goes to the best place for your energy, okay? Doesn't matter what it looks like, just go there. When you're there, feel that security kind of tether in, and then ask for your grounding cord to expand so it's at least as wide as you. It just helps the energy flow much more easily. It also means you can create space where you are held in a stable, grounded place by Mother Earth. Okay, so that's what you're doing here. And as you do that, just bring your awareness back up that grounding cord with that widened energy coming back up into your heart space. And now just rest into that energy. If you use something else that you like to do that connects to that grounding energy that allows you to feel the love more, do that. But right now, just trust and honor your connection to Mother Earth. It is a sacred, beautiful thing, but it is always there for you. You don't have to do anything special or be anything special. Just have that intention to be grounded, okay? Now I want you to bring your awareness from your heart all the way up to the crown of your head. Here, we're going to lift the awareness slightly out to a place, some need to go high, wherever your awareness is, where you might connect to the divine, universal source, love, energy. Okay, that's what you're connecting to here. Wherever that feels right for you. Some need to go about 300 foot in the sky, whatever that looks like. Some feel it in the energy around them, whatever. Just trust with the intention, I'm connecting to the universal love energy. And then bring that down, 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 through to the crown, and then bring it down through the third eye, just trusting your intuition, your knowledge, your wisdom, that it is connected to the divine, coming down through to the throat, that you can communicate with this love and wisdom, down into the heart space, so that your heart can rest and feel assured, and also bring that down into the pelvic bowl. So you're coming through the solar plexus, where you feel strong and capable, empowered, down into your sacral, your creative, sensual energy, then down into the root, your stability and your safety. I recognize I've been talking very fast. I'm hoping that you're able to keep up with me. So just take a breath. Okay, release that out. That's quite a big energy. Now again, check that your energy around you, your aura is expanded. And it's expanded so that even if you reach your hand up to the top, you won't reach the edge of the bubble, as it were. It's beyond at least another foot or 2 meters out from there. If you will be reaching your toes, it's way beyond your toes. Reaching out to the side, it's way beyond either side. Okay. Expanded aura. Now we ask the angelic realm, so the angels, to come in and light up that energy, to really hold us in light. Because what we want is support while we start to release some of the heavy, dark stuff, the stuff that makes us feel really crap about ourselves, okay? And we're going to need support to do that. So I always ask the light gang to come in. These are light beings, ascended masters, angels, you name it. The light gang are here. And I ask that your energy can mirror mine with that. So just trust that you know, your energy knows how to do this, even if your brain doesn't, okay? And from here, we're going to start to release with those energy clearing statements. And I'm going to try and slow this down so that you can just follow me. But what I tend to do is follow the threads of the energy as they reveal themselves to you. And I want you to do this with me so that you are taking ownership, and also you get used to claiming your power back from these things. The more of us that do this, the clearer the energy becomes, the lighter the energy is, the less true it is. We start to dismantle that, okay? So remember, we're trying to release out this self-loathing, which is based in nonsense. Ultimately, it's all nonsense. And why on earth would we want our children or our children's children to grow up in that nonsense? So let's clear that out together, okay? So I am with you, the light gang is with you, and we're doing this together as a sisterhood, okay? Because that's what we want and that's what we need. So the first statement is, repeating after me now. Everywhere where I feel self-loathing, everywhere where that impacts my health, everywhere where that makes my heart feel sad and heavy, everywhere where it gives voice to the judgments in my head, everything that is, everything that holds it stuck in place, and everything that underpins it, all of that, I now deconstruct and dissolve and delete across all the layers of infinity and dimensions, the constellations and the patterns, and the ancestral timelines. And so it is. Now I'm closing my eyes just so that I can feel into the energy of that and see the next strand. Okay. The next strand, and I want you to repeat after me, is even though I might not trust and I might not believe that this is possible for me, that freedom is possible for me. Everywhere where I still fear the judgments of myself and others, everywhere where I'm fearful to know the truth, everything that is, I now deconstruct and dissolve and delete across all the layers of infinity and dimensions, constellations, patterns, and ancestral timelines. And so it is. And everywhere where I feel I have to hide this part of myself, where it's secret and shameful, everything that is, everything that's led to it, everything that holds it in place, and everything that I have made that mean, I now deconstruct and dissolve and delete it across all the layers of infinity and dimensions, the constellations, the patterns, and the ancestral timelines. And so it is. Now you might have some phrases that have come up for you. I want you to write them down, because then you can clear them afterwards. And you just, even if you can't feel it, you can just repeat this statement, this energy clearing statement, which I'm going to repeat right now. So when you're clearing a statement, you say the statement, and then you say, everything that is, I now deconstruct, dissolve, and delete it across all layers of infinity and dimensions, constellations and patterns, and ancestral timelines. And so it is. The ancestral timelines is important because although it clears from behind us, it clears for our children and our children's children and those children. So it clears down the timeline in front of you so that everyone who's born of you gets cleared of this energy. So that's why this is really important. Now I just want to check in and see if there's any more energies that are coming up right now compared to what I was feeling earlier. Okay, let's look at this one. So, repeating after me, everywhere where I still hate to acknowledge or acknowledge that I still hate, aspects of myself, of my body, of my mind, everything that is, and everything that it leads my behavior to do, everywhere where I shame myself about it, everywhere where it causes stuck energy to be manifested in my body, everything that is, in its entirety, I now deconstruct, dissolve and delete across all the layers of infinity and dimensions, constellations and patterns, and ancestral timelines. And so it is. I'm just going to see if there's one more thread that I can pull today. There's something else that needs to happen. Okay. Everywhere where I try to make myself what I am not, where I cannot accept myself for what I am, where I reject love and affection and genuine care, where I pull myself out of integrity because of others' viewpoints, and everywhere where I get myself so confused I remain stuck and out of love with myself or my body, and I return to the stuck place of self-loathing and hatred. Everything that is, everything that's led to it, everything that underpins it, everywhere where it takes me now, all of that, I now deconstruct and dissolve and delete across all the layers of infinity, dimensions and constellations and patterns, and the ancestral timelines. And so it is. Okay, so I'm not feeling any energy particularly coming up. There is energy, I can feel that underneath. That could be something to work on separately, or if you actually if you want help, reach out, we'll do this together. But what I want to do now is start to bring in some lightness and ease, okay? Because when we've released the heavy dark stuff, it can leave us feeling a little bit flat or drained. And also there's holes, as it were, not holes really, but basically there's space for lightness, expansiveness, ease and happiness and joy and connection and love to come in. So let's do that. Let's bring more of that in, because the more we have of that within our energy, the easier life feels for ourselves, and also the more of ourselves we can truly be, and we can show up, we can show vulnerable aspects about ourselves, and we can be honest, we can be in integrity, because we are warts and all almost, but we still need to bring the lightness in so that we can nourish ourselves afterwards. That's really, really important. So I'm going to have a little feel of what else is needed. Let's start with the simpleness. So everything that stands in the way of me feeling glorious and beautiful, loving and loved, appreciated and acknowledged, everything that stands in the way of that, I now deconstruct, dissolve and delete across all layers of infinity and dimensions, constellations and patterns, and the ancestral timelines. And so it is. Let's have a feel for something else. Okay. Everything that stands in the way of me knowing and believing that I am magical, feminine and beautiful, that I am perfectly unique, that I am absolutely loved, that I am supported, that I am confident, and I have a huge sense of self-love. Everything that's in the way of that, everything that restricts it or blocks it, I now deconstruct, dissolve and delete it. Across all the layers of infinity and dimensions, the constellations, the patterns, and the ancestral timelines. And so it is. Everything that stops me finding a new thing to love about myself, a new thing to love about my body, every single day, everything that stands in the way of that or restricts that, I now deconstruct and dissolve and delete it across all layers of infinity and dimensions, constellations, patterns, and ancestral timelines. And so it is. Beautiful. Now, if you have other phrases that you want to bring in, if there's a kind of like a feeling that you're like, oh, I need more of that and I haven't mentioned it, do that. So everything that stands in the way of that good feeling, you now deconstruct, dissolve and delete it across all layers of infinity and dimensions, constellations, patterns and ancestral timelines. I do hope this has been helpful. If there's any questions or comments of a constructive nature, then please feel free to post them. And if I can help at all, please just reach out and we'll see what we can do together. Okay, wishing you many blessings. Take care.